chose, to be on the scene and be outside, and then you move off campus, and then Murder She
And
Wrote.
that and that was it. That was it. You was
Yeah,
fully in the mix at that point. So when did your college years end? How old were you when your years ended?
22, 23.
Okay, so talk to me just a little bit about from 15 to 23, because I know we said that decade 15 to 25 we're exploring and all these things, but from 15 to 23 you're a student, high school, then in college. What kind of student were you? I mean, I know things about you,
Mhm.
so just but talk to me about what kind of student you were.
I was a nerd, bookworm. I love to read books. I love to write. Um, I graduated with a 3.8 GPA from high school. Um, College started off my freshman year was a blast. I had a 3.5 GPA, and
You
then
had a what? Say that again. You had a what?
three 3.5
Yeah, I
my
never saw that
freshman
in
year.
college. In my first stint in college, I never saw 3-0 in my first stint of college.
And you know what? After I did that first year, it started to, now I know people. Now I'm comfortable in my element. You're not
Yeah.
going to class me either. Things of that nature. And I started to, it was like the people that I was meeting, they were more so, because it was an open campus, it wasn't private, it's not a private college, it's public. And people I were meeting didn't even go to the school. I was
Really?
really meeting like people in
Wow. What
more than
they
I
was
was
just
meeting.
paying they was just paying tuition to walk on campus?
They're not paying tuition. They can just walk on campus. You don't have access
Oh, I
to the
got you. Yeah,
buildings
yeah, yeah. I
because
got
it's
you.
public. You could just come from your house out your backyard and come right across the lawn, and nobody's going to stop you. Nobody's going to question it. Um, so that's how I started to get away from good grades, because now I'm off
Yeah.
campus, all off campus. We're throwing parties at my apartment. Like, don't get me wrong, I was lit in the city.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
the education part fell through. I had to do summer school. I started having to go to summer school.
Okay.
Um, I was on probation.
Okay.
So then you got to like,
Academic probation.
yes, academic probation. I had to bring my GPA up to even be able to stay in school. So it was just a lot. And then, mind you, I'm trying to keep all this from my parents.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Got you. Right.
So
Right.
it was a lot. I got involved with the wrong crowd. I started to smoke weed heavily, drink, and we waking up and we drinking.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
it
Yeah, I know
was
that life.
it was a
I know
lot.
that life well.
And I was more focused on like being down than I was on growing. I was cool where I was at, and I was stuck where I was at, and I was very complacent
Yeah.
from 19 to 22.
Okay. Okay.
Um, I was just kind
So
of just like I didn't care. I just stopped caring. So it was just like I was doing whatever. We on the scene, I'm on the scene. I had a car. Not everybody had a car. Shout out to my parents, but I was just driving around and being reckless. I didn't really have a purpose at that time. It was just, YOLO. You're young, you're in your 20s. Like,
yeah,
this is
yeah,
what it's about. I wish I knew better.
yeah.
Like, I know now what I could have done then and not have gone through the things that I've gone through. But I mean, life lessons. I had to go through it to grow through it. So I know better now. But yeah,
Amen.
education went
Amen.
straight out the window once I started to turn up with people and I moved off campus. It just wasn't a priority to me anymore.
So so at this point, 15, 25, let's just 25, 26, I don't know. From
Yeah.
that point though, what would you say at that time in your life was your understanding of who God is?
So I have super, super duper religious grandparents. So God has always been, I guess, a part of my life, or I'll say I always knew who God was in a sense, especially when I was around my grandparents because they lived and breathed the word. So they were always talking about him. But I didn't have any direct connection. So to me, it was just like, say your grace, don't curse around
Okay.
old people. Like the 1, 2, 3s of God.
I love it.
So that's where I was at. And I felt like I mean, I really didn't know. I didn't know anything about it. So I felt like, okay, as long as I pray over my food and, don't curse nobody's grandma out, I'm in the
And you
clear.
straight. Long as listen, people, as long as you pray over your food, okay, and don't curse out no old people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then you listen, ticket into heaven. Don't
I was going.
pray over your
First
food.
class flight. I was in. And I knew, I have praying grandparents. So I knew I was covered and protected, but like, I didn't really know who God was to me specifically and that he could be to me specifically. I didn't have a relationship with him. I didn't pray in the good times, pray in the bad. There was no communication. I was aware of who he was.
That's a good word right there. That's a good word that you said.
Aware.
You said, I was aware.
Yeah, I was aware. And like, I had a Bible, but I mean, dust. It was like one of those things you put on your bookshelf that holds up all the other books because it's a little bit heavier.
Yeah.
And you look at it like, I got a Bible. You can't tell me nothing.
Because, hey, look, if I have the word, if I'm in proximity of the written word,
he's blessing me.
And I have the word with me. Amen. God is with me because I got a Bible. Amen. Amen.
You might as well have been there when I was in my 20s because that's exactly my mentality. That was me. I'm good.
Hey, I understand. I certainly have been there. So look, I guess the question that I would have is, when did things begin to shift for you? When was there, can you identify a time when you was like, you know what, something ain't right, or you heard something or did something or whatever, and it was, there was just something went on, some kind of shaking. Was there anything like that for you? I know some people talk about that, but was there anything like that for you?
For me, I was spoiled. And one day when I was 22, my parents called me and was like, it's on you now. We're not doing it.
Wow.
Huh? What? What do you mean? They bought me an apartment. They bought me a car. And now I'm going to be responsible for a car note and some rent. I've never paid a bill in my life. So I started to panic because I had to grow up. And I never thought that I would have to because of the way that I was treated by my parents. I've always been the baby girl. It doesn't matter the age. I've always been the baby girl. And I never thought that with that title came responsibilities. You coddle the baby, you hold the baby, you burp the baby, you do everything for the baby.
Right.
And they said, grow up. We got younger kids than you now. We got to focus on the new generation coming up. We can't keep giving all the money to you. And I mean, at that time, I was like the only kid out of all of us that they were paying their bills.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Like, they bought me a car. Nobody else got a car. Everybody else had to get their own car. So, like I said,
they used the baby.
Right. And I was milking that role. But that's how I ended up in hospitality, honestly. I had a friend who worked at Enterprise car rental. She got me a job at the exit gate. And that's how I started building like relationships with people, just daily conversations, letting people out of the gate with the rental cars, which then led me into hotels because that same friend ends up quitting that job and going to a hotel. And I mean, we were really locked in. Shout out to all day. And she was like, hey, listen, you can do this. She gave me all the information I needed. I went in and I killed the interview. And I'll never forget this interview because I made the guy, his name was Mike Ingram. He choked on his water in the interview. He was so shocked at the things that I was saying and so amazed at the information that I knew because I've never worked in hotels. So that got me in the door, and then like life kind of took off. Because I was so busy with work, I didn't have time to do the stupid things that I was doing in my free time. I wasn't in school, so I had 24 hours to just do it, whatever I wanted. Now it's like, you got to be responsible for these bills. Your light's going to get cut. Like, I really had to take a second to realize that, like, what it meant to be responsible for myself.
Okay.
So that really is how my mindset started to kind of change a little bit, really just making me more responsible, and helping me remove myself from those people who would have brought me back down to a level that I couldn't be at, because what I'm doing now, my life literally depends on it.
Yeah, I can dig that. I can dig that. So,
Yeah, what happened?
so
Stuff I got like, did we break it?
So as you're gaining this responsibility, 22, 23, 24, was there ever a point when you felt like God was calling you? And what I mean is like you had to deal with his presence. Like he kept showing you, come this way, come
You know
this way,
what?
or something to that way.
Nothing that I was aware of. It could have been happening. But it really wasn't until I started to learn about God,
Okay.
like for real, that
Okay.
things like that started to happen.
Amen.
It
Amen.
was
So,
like once I was
so
given
wait,
the
pause there for
tools
just a
to learn
second.
how.
Pause there for just a second, because you said, I want to make sure that I heard what you said, and that our audience will hear what you're saying.
Mhm,
You said it was not until I started to learn about God
mhm,
that whatever this next shift was going to be
mhm,
about the reality of who he was
mhm.
and who he is. God is not in the past.
Right. He
He's in
is
the present, and he's also standing in tomorrow. But it was not until after you started to learn
Mhm.
about God that you could begin to actually, I'm going to use this phrase, hear his voice.
Yes.
Would that be accurate?
That's accurate. Because at
Okay.
first it was kind of like a feeling, I guess. Like when you're about to do something you're not supposed to do, and something just not sitting right with you, and you just can't move forward in it. That was starting to happen. That was starting to happen a lot. But I didn't give any credit to God. That was me. I'm growing up. Are you kidding me? I'm being responsible. I chose not to do it. I'm proud of me, not knowing that God is putting that on my spirit and making me feel that way. I didn't know. I didn't have that connection at the time. So I just was like, okay, Jazz, I see you changing and trying to grow up a little bit.
Right. Well, that's good. That's good. So talk to me. Let me see. We're about 30 minutes in. So
Wow.
talk to me a little bit about this transition. Well, let me ask you a pointed question.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, are you saved?
Yes.
Okay. And
I got baptized January 29th, 2023. Best day ever. Made new. Hey y'all. It's the new me. Walking with God, y'all.
the people love it, folks. Hey, look. So now tell the people about how you started to learn about God. Talk to the folks about like when you were like, wait a minute, do it say that? See, I know some stuff, so I'm trying to let you do it, but I want to pull it out there because talk to the people about like the thing. I guess maybe some of the things you were going through, but something got you to start to be like, you know what, something made you want to learn about God. That's I think where I'm like, something happened in my life. For me, it was sitting in the jail cell. Well, it was sitting in a holding cell because I ain't do no time.
Right, clear it up. Let the people know now.
Let me be clear. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not trying to listen, someone else's journey. Like I'm not trying, elevate like, oh yeah, and I went to nah, it was nothing like that. I'm not built. I am not built for that. That is not my life. But but I know that there was something for me. It was sitting in the holding cell, and I got tired. I had to be 24 at the time, 24. And I remember I was tired. Like there's had to be something different. That's what it was for me. So
Yep.
I don't know what your moment was,
Mhm.
but that's
I
what I'm
do.
asking. What was your
Yeah.
moment?
It was kind of like a transition of things that led to my moment. For one, I was well into my career. Nobody could tell me anything. Like I was the best of the best. Like, and I got fired from a job.
Oh wow. Wow. That's humbling.
I mean, it was so hard to, and I mean, after the 90-day period. Now, granted, I ended up getting pregnant during this time. I was dating a man. Toxic situation. Um, Horrible pregnancy. I was in a lot of pain. So like I couldn't work. And this was a brand new job. So mind you, I get fired from my job in Virginia in 2018. Moved to Baltimore for this new job a month later. Just 90 days to get fired from my second job, to never been fired, to being fired
Wow.
back to back.
Yeah, that's humbling. Yeah.
That was very humbling. I've actually never dealt with rejection until I lost those jobs. And at that point, I'm 26, 7, 8. I didn't know what to do, but I always had my parents as a crutch. So I knew that I could go home and I knew that they would give me the time to figure it out. But I didn't want to go. I didn't want to be home. Like I worked so hard to learn how to pay bills and be responsible. And I was doing it and I was good at it. And my parents were so proud of me. So it was just a hard pill to swallow because I've never been that girl. So I don't know that version of myself. And so I was low. And then I'm dating a man who keeps me even lower because he's not doing well in his life. So he was actually happy that I lost my job. And then it became like a competition. I never experienced that. So now I'm dating a man who is getting joy out of the fact that I'm down.
Wow.
Boom, I had to deal with that. Wow. So then I leave that situation. You actually came and picked me up from that house with my mom. And I moved out. I terminated my lease. I left. Now I'm back home. I don't know my purpose. I don't know why I'm here back at my mama's house after all the hard work and all the money that I've made, and I have nothing to show for it. I'm about to cry because I was so low, and I've never been that low in my life. So I decided, let me run to California. My sister lived on a military base. Let me go and just because I can and because I don't know what to do. And it was COVID. So then you get fired, and then 3 months later, the world shuts down. Wow. So now you're stuck in the house, and you can't get a job in hospitality because the hotels is closed. I had no idea who I was anymore. My identity was in my job because I was so good at my job. So I put in the time and the work, and I focused on that so much that when it was taken from me, it was just like, who's Jasmine without the suit and the badge at the front desk? I don't know who I am because I worked so hard in my 20s to be this girl, the hospitality girl, the responsible girl, paying her bills and doing the thing and making her parents proud. And now I'm low, and the people around me are making me feel lower. I go home and I still feel low because I didn't want to be there. So I go to California. And it was there that I actually had time to myself. I was in isolation. And I think that's where God wanted me to be, but I didn't know that at the time because I didn't have a relationship with God. But I believe I called you from Cali, and I said, I got to know about him. Yeah. I need to know, and I think I'm ready to start the journey. I don't know. Just give me something to read. Tell me where to start. Like, let me just start somewhere. I know that I want to know about him. Amen. Because what's happening to me right now, it was like I had nothing to lose. I had nowhere else to go but to God. I just felt like that was it. Who? I can't talk to anybody right here about it. My family not really understanding. Oh, you'll get a job. But y'all don't understand how I feel from the things that's already happened to me. I know I can get a job. Yeah. Right now, I don't even have the motivation to get up and go apply. I'm so defeated. I don't know where to turn. So I turn to the Bible. Amen. That's